And my warm welcome to all the attendees, to all the viewers. And thank you very much for taking out this time and giving us your presence. Yes, so I'm happy to see all the viewers who've joined in, and I'm happy to see that keen interest into business transformation. And at the same time, yes, I do understand that there might be few people who are new to this topic. There might be few people who are probably just aware about what business transformation is, and there might be few people who completely know what business transformation is. But nothing to worry. The content that we've designed in this entire presentation is very simple to understand, and just in case if there are any questions, even after that, we are happy to address them once the entire presentation gets done. And one humble request is that we plan to have some timely polls. So would request you people to participate in that as well. So yes, so with this small introduction, and let's go directly jump in the transformation presentation. Just give me a moment where I can just go ahead and share the presentation. Okay, are you guys able to see my screen? Manmeet, if you can just confirm on that, please.
Yes, sir, we can see your screen.
Okay, great. So, guys, let's be ready, and here we go. So, what is business transformation, right? So, this entire topic, we have segmented into three different sections. One is to set up the entire context of business transformation. The second section will be about to understand exactly and deeply what business transformation is. And the third section is that how is it that you can start your journey for business transformation. So let's get started. So in front of me, what we can see on the screen is a finance statement. ये जो statement है, it is a P&L, it's a profit and loss statement. And of whatever business that we do, okay, at the end of the day, okay, we measure our performance with this entire statement. हम पूरे साल में जितना भी काम करते हैं, दिन में 10 घंटा काम करते हैं, 15 घंटा काम करते हैं, 12 घंटा काम करते हैं, वॉट एवर वी डू आइदर क्वार्टरली और ईयरली, वी कम टू दिस स्टेटमेंट एंड वी मेजर अप परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ द बिजनेस. अभी ये पूरे स्टेटमेंट में, okay, what are the elements that we can actually control and what is it that we cannot control? So if I put it this way, if I look at sales is something which is market driven. वो मेरे control में नहीं. I can only influence it, right? That is something that I can just probably influence, not control. If I go to cost of goods sold, again, nothing in my control. Operating expenses, yes, I can control to an extent, पर अगर मैं ज़्यादा control करने जाऊँगा, I might just lose the quality of my product and service, and that's again going to impact my sales. Then I come to depreciation, fixed formula hai, I can't do anything about it. Interest rates, I cannot do anything about it. They're predefined by the market forces. Come to your tax, again predefined.
Nilay, I'm just going to interrupt you between. Your presentation stopped sharing, so could you just check once?
Yeah, sure. Just a minute. Okay, now is it fine?
Yeah.
Is the screen visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Yes. So if you can also help me with where did we disconnect? So probably I can start from there.
From the depreciation bit.
Okay. So I'll just run through this once again. So this is the entire income statement, and we are just trying to identify what are the components, is what we can control and what we can't. So sales is something that is something that we can influence, we can't control. We cannot control कि मुझे इतना sales या इतना sales लेके आता हूँ. Operating expenses, they can control to an extent, but if I try and probably stretch it further, it might impact the quality of my product or service, and that's going to again impact my sales. Depreciation, fixed formula, I really cannot control or make any changes. Same with interest. Financial institutions have fixed interest rates, cannot do anything. And tax, fixed slabs, cannot do anything. And all of this impacts my net income. So that means मेरे पास सिर्फ दो ही components है. One is sales and one is operating expense. Now let's see that what is it that we do as traditional businesses to go out there and increase sales. So probably we'll say that मुझे sales बढ़ाना है, तो I'll enter into new markets or I'll launch new services. या तो मैं मेरी sales force बढ़ा दूंगा. अगर मेरे पास 10 लोग हैं तो मैं 20 लोग की टीम कर लूंगा. and then probably I'll expand geographically. I'll go in every look and corner and I'll get increased sales and stuff like that. Or probably hidden cost and manipulations, right? And on the other hand, what is it that we do that is going to reduce our expenses? So probably we might compromise with resource quality, and that's going to get our operating costs down. Or probably we might work on a shared resource model where we are not only sharing the human resources, हम ऑफिस इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर भी हम शेयर्ड ऑफिसेस में काम कर रहे हैं, या तो हम ऑफिस का कोई आईटी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर शेयर कर रहे हैं, समथिंग लाइक दैट. Exploiting employees is not a good option. Oops. Right? Exploiting employees is not a good option, but probably more or less it still happens in today's time, where employees are expected to work much long hours and deliver much more than what they expected, and finally it's layoffs. So these are the traditional ways that probably we are fighting and we are combating to increase sales, or probably to reduce operating expenses just to achieve one target, that's increased income. Now the question is that even after doing so much, the entire year, why is it that we are not able to generate, or why is it that we are not able to get the financial outcome that we exactly want to achieve? And that brings on to us to the next slide, is the business purpose. So all of us know, हमको सब मालूम कि हम क्या करते हैं, कौन सा प्रोडक्ट पे काम कर रहे हैं, कौन सी सर्विसेज हम what are the services that we are offering. All of us know that. हमें सब मालूम है कि हम वो कैसे करते हैं. How do we deliver what we are making, either a product or a service? But the question is, do we know why are we doing it, right? तो अगर मुझे कोई पूछता है कि यार सर आप बिजनेस क्यों करते हैं, सो मैं इमीडिएट आंसर इज पैसे कमाने के लिए. बट द क्वेश्चन इज कि अगर मैं बिजनेस पैसे कमाने के लिए करता हूँ, पर वो पैसे कमाना तो मेरे कंट्रोल में है नहीं, वो हमने देख लिया लास्ट स्लाइड में. Sales is something which is not in your control. Then how is it that the purpose of my business is to earn money? So that means that I'm investing all that effort, I'm investing everything that I'm doing on something which is not in my control. इसका मतलब ये है कि boss, there is a gap somewhere, somehow. Okay. Now, I don't know if there is a poll being put already. Okay. But let's understand this. If I have to ask you, कि how many people believe कि अगर हम ज़्यादा advertisements करते हैं तो ज़्यादा sales आएगा? Most of us would believe that. हम सारे लोग हम ये भी believe करेंगे that the more visible I am, the more sellable I am. अगर मेरा business is on an online platform, I will believe that जितना मैं visible हूँ उतना मैं sellable हूँ. And I will also believe that if my product is there at the right place, at the right time, with the right price, okay, mera sales बढ़ जाएगा. But honestly, we all need to rethink on these concepts, because if I have to ask you this question, let's take the world two leading companies, Google and Microsoft. Google और Microsoft ने आपने कितने ads देखे आज तक? आपने कभी देखा है that Microsoft is putting an ad saying that you know what, I have Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, Note, सर ये मेरा एक सॉफ्टवेयर पैकेज है, आप इसका लाइसेंस खरीद लो. और Google is putting an ad saying that I have these Google apps, please buy my apps. We don't see that, and we'll never see that. Why? The answer to this is because companies like these, they have a different purpose. Their purpose is something else. Okay, and the purpose is to basically impact lives, and that's what I'm coming on next. So the purpose of Microsoft is to make work more productive. तो आप देखेंगे Microsoft के जितने भी products है, कि जितने भी services है, they are working on one single focus. They're working on one single purpose, is to make your work life more productive. And now they have even excelled further. Now they are saying that it's not only about the office, even out of office, our products are so designed that you can easily collaborate and you can easily work remotely. Okay, just like the office, but not in the office. On the other hand, अगर हम Google का purpose देखें, तो Google is focusing on data, and it says that with some data, give me some data, and I'll make your life simpler, which is what exactly Google is doing, right? So these companies, they have a different purpose, and their purpose is not to earn money. Their purpose is to impact lives. So then we said, okay, अगर ये चीज है, then we need to understand that how are these companies working? What is their approach towards working? And that's where we come to the next slide. So firstly, these companies are customer centric. When I say customer centric, मतलब आपको customer को अपने सारे functions के बीच में रखना है, सारे business functions के बीच में रखना है, and then you have to think that how is it that I can impact my customer. First thing. Second thing, all of these services are satisfying a need. But the question is, आप जब भी वो need satisfy कर रहे हो customers की, okay, are you solving the pain points? And at the same time, is your service or the product, okay, solving or delivering the job for what it is hired? I know your product, it's probably, it may not be that easy to understand, but I'm going to take a practical example to explain this entire thing in the next slide. So here I'm going to do a comparative analysis between Kali Pili and Uber. All of us know that Kali Pili has been in India from over 50 years. Even over 50 years is also an understatement. It's been there since ages. So technically speaking, Kali Pili has a first mover advantage. Abhi, if I want to have a Kali Pili, okay, what is it that I used to do? I used to get out of my building, I used to go out and stand on the road, और मैं टैक्सी के आने का इंतजार करता था, and then I used to wave at the taxi to stop. राइट पहले तो मुझे ये नहीं मालूम है कि मैं बाहर जाऊंगा तो टैक्सी मिलेगी कि नहीं मिलेगी. उसके बाद अगर टैक्सी दिखेगी तो आई डू नॉट नो कि ड्राइवर अग्री करेगा कि नहीं करेगा. सेकेंडली, अगर ड्राइवर अग्री कर रहा है और अगर कोई एक्सट्रीम सिचुएशन है या बारिश हो रही है सेकेंड और कुछ भी ऐसा हो रहा है, then I do not know the price. It might be an exorbitant price that he's going to charge me. Right? So all these are the pain points as a customer that I was facing. Correct? And just see what Uber did. Uber had a strong purpose in place. Uber adopted the job theory. Uber adopted the entire philosophy of solving the pain points. And what did Uber do? Uber came in I think 2012 or 2013, and it exactly solved the pain points. So today, आपको घर से बाहर नहीं जाना पड़ता है टैक्सी बुक करने के लिए. ड्राइवर आपको कभी मना नहीं कर सकता. अगर ड्राइवर कैंसिल करता है, then Uber will again book a new driver for the same trip. Right? Your pricing is known to you. Correct? The driver will call you that, sir, मैं आ गया हूँ. Now, these are the detailed parts of a customer, what he goes. It's called a customer journey when he is availing the service. And Uber has actually worked very hard on these points, okay? And it has actually solved the pain points. And because of that, okay, agar Uber is going to charge a surge price of 1x or 2x, we are still ready to pay it. The fact that we are ready to pay it is because that Uber is perfectly solving the job for what we have hired it for. In fact, अगर आप मुझे पूछे, मैं काफी लोगों को जानता हूं जिनके पास गाड़ियां हैं और उन्होंने गाड़ियां छोड़ दी है. हम ऐसे सोचते हैं कि यार अगर Uber है तो मैं अपनी गाड़ी क्यों चलाऊं, मैं वो ट्रैफिक का लोड क्यों लूं. Why is that I should go and waste my energy in traffic, and again if I'm in the traffic someone's going to scratch my car and stuff like that. So what is Uber doing is Uber is giving me a comfort of my own car. That means it is successful in solving the job for what I'm hiring it for, and that's disruption. That's how Uber has disrupted the market. If you see, the need is the same. Need is from traveling from point A to point B. The need is the same, but the approach is different. The pain points solved are different. The way Uber has identified and rendered the service, okay, has probably delivered the job is different. And hence, this is what it is, that the purpose of Uber is to solve the pain points, address the need, provide a solution, and make it sure it does the job for which it is hired. Hence, money is the outcome and not the purpose. If you see, Uber ka purpose alag hai. So now I'm trying to understand one more concept, is that if my purpose is to impact lives in a meaningful way, okay, that means I'm enabling people and I'm helping people grow. And when I help people grow, they're going to help me grow. So money is always the outcome. It's never the purpose. Okay. So then we said, okay, तो हमने purpose समझ लिया, हमने underlying approach समझ लिया. Now we need to understand the mindset. So when we talk about transformation first has to come from the mindset. if your mind is not prepared to transform, okay, you cannot get transformation into the physical world. So first, your mind has to be prepared for the transformation. So that means that we had to understand and we had to study the mindsets. And that's where we did another comparative analysis of how do traditional and philosophical organizations operate. Let's understand this. So when you talk about traditional organizations, they are outcome oriented. That means, as I said, there is constant effort in, there's constant effort in getting sales. There's constant effort in personal growth. There's constant effort in earning money. While for philosophical organizations like Google, Uber, and so on and so forth, the constant effort is fulfilling the purpose. So if you see, so I have experienced this, and I'm sure all of you must have. If I book an Uber, okay, and if I'm mischarged or if I'm not satisfied, and from the app, agar main dalta hu ki I'm not satisfied, and if it's a true case, I get refund on the same day, right? That means that they are working on the purpose. They are not evaluating whether I should process the refund or I should not. The second point is focus. The focus is on short-term profitability. Now, just imagine that Kali Pili, where that when you say कि भैया मुझे लोखंड वाला जाना है और आप वहां पे ही किधर नजदीक में हो, तो वो सोचेगा यार मुझे I don't want to take a short distance, I want to take a long distance. तो मेरा फोकस शॉर्ट टर्म प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी पे, मुझे लंबा भाड़ा चाहिए, राइट? बट आउट हियर द फोकस इज ऑन लॉन्ग टर्म सस्टेनेबिलिटी एंड ब्रांड वैल्यू. In traditional organizations, we are sales oriented. We want to sell the product. We want to push the product. There is a lot of effort in selling. In philosophical organizations, they are strategy oriented. They put a lot of effort in planning the product, in strategizing the product, and then they execute. So let me give an example. हमारे जितने भी products and services जो हम design करते हैं, okay? So product and services is nothing but an outcome of operations. जहाँ पे आप उसे डिजाइन करते हो या अगर प्रोडक्ट है तो आप उसको बनाते हो, ठीक है? फिर वो प्रोडक्ट को वो प्रोडक्ट और सर्विस के लिए आप एक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन चैनल सेटअप करते हो थ्रू विच दे कैन रीच द कस्टमर्स, राइट? बिफोर यू डू दिस, आप स्ट्रेटेजाइज करते हो, आप पूरे कस्टमर्स को यू अंडरस्टैंड द कंज्यूमर बिहेवियर, यू अंडरस्टैंड द कस्टमर, you understand your partners, you understand the entire market, and you prepare a business model. And then from there is what you make a product. Then you set up a distribution channel, and then you do marketing communication. So your product and the service is nothing but an outcome of your operational efforts, strategy efforts, and marketing communication efforts. It's an outcome, right? और जब भी वो प्रोडक्ट जाता है, so then that product goes to the market, okay? So sales is nothing but an outcome, okay, of the strategy that you've done so far. Sales is nothing but an outcome of the thinking that you've done so far, correct? Then why is it that we are putting efforts on the outcome? We should be putting efforts on the inputs. Sales is the outcome, and this is the difference which I wanted to explain, that traditional organizations are putting efforts on the outcome. And philosophical organizations like Uber, see, they have put a lot of effort in understanding the customer pain points. Once they understood the customer pain points, they understood how they behave, they designed a product, they designed a service, right? And after that, sales was the outcome. They never put efforts on sales. Promotional efforts is a different thing that I'm just promoting. But if you see, actual efforts is not on sales, the actual effort is on service. Then I would say that traditional organizations, they perceive problems as bottlenecks, and philosophical organizations, they perceive problems as opportunities. If I have to give you an example here, so a traditional business owner, probably like me, would think, "Yaar, lockdown chalu hai and my business is down and mere kharche badh rahe hai, my rent is increasing, but I have no sales." But a philosophical business owner would think that, "Oh my God, this is the lockdown. I've got ample of time. Okay, and let me go back to my strategy board. Let me upgrade myself. Let me go ahead and evaluate all the customer feedbacks that I've got. And let me prepare myself and the entire organization such that when the lockdown opens, we are ready with much better services, or which much better approach, which is going to take us even longer. Then traditional organizations are people driven, right? It's very difficult to upscale. Philosophical organizations are processes driven, very easy to upscale. Problem solving, we are traditional, so traditional business owners are always going to probably find quick fix to problems. They will always address the situation. They will never go to the root cause of the problem. अभी जब आप प्रॉब्लम के रूट कॉज में नहीं जाएंगे तभी आपको पता नहीं चलेगा कि प्रॉब्लम क्या है. सो इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू इवन मिटिगेट एनी रिस्क्स. एंड रिजल्ट ऑफ दैट कि आपका जो यू आर कॉन्स्टेंटली फायर फाइटिंग in your entire operational work at even at your workplace, you are constantly firefighting. But if you look at philosophical organizations, they go to the root cause, they go to the root of the problem through visibility and data derived through processes. From there they start understanding and they are in a position to imagine what's going to happen, and from there they start mitigating the risks. Time investment for traditional organizations, the time investment is a challenge because they're entangled. As I said, they're always entangled in daily operations. So there is very limited time to think, learn, and strategize. For philosophical organizations, they have adequate time to think. In fact, it's an asset. They feel that upgrading and setting up things is an asset to them. It's an intangible asset, or it's something that they're value adding to themselves, because they really need that time to learn, to relearn, unlearn, experiment, but with proper planning and execution. And last but not the least, this is what all of us know, is the purpose. Traditional, the purpose is to only earn money and growth. And philosophical, the purpose is to impact lives and provide a better experience. Right? So with this, I come to the end of the first section where I was just setting up the context that when we think about transformation, when we think about business transformation, it has to first get up and it has to first get settled in our heads that if I want to transform my business, what should be my purpose? Whom is it that I want to impact? Okay, these two things should be very clear, because only then you can go ahead and transform lives. So now we move on to the next section, that is, what is business transformation? And before we go there, we have a small slide here that, do you think business transformation is migrating from manual work to software tools? And, we are going to answer this. Let's understand what business transformation codes are, what are the top consulting firms and, consulting firms around the globe have to say. So if you look at Deloitte says it's to rethink your business and operating models to deliver breakthrough value. Breakthrough value is nothing but the impact that you want to achieve, or the impact that you want to make in the life of your stakeholder. Let that be a customer, let that be a supplier, let that be anyone, let that be a channel partner. So Uber made an impact to the customer as well as the life to the channel partners. Those are the drivers. Right? BIE says that aims to make changes to processes, people, or systems to better align the company with its business strategy and vision. Perfectly all right. And Harvard says that business transformation creates tomorrow's core business. Very true. But if I have to sum all this up, and if I have to make it very easy to understand, okay, here it is. Business transformation, it is not just a change. It is that change that's going to make a positive and meaningful impact in the lives of the business stakeholders through processes and technology. Okay, now let me explain this. Once I decide that to whom I want to make an impact, that's the people. Do I want to make an impact to my customers, or do I want to make an impact to my employees, or do I want to make an impact to my channel partners? Okay, then I start designing processes around it. That I need to define a process such that that processes delivers that impact. Okay, and once I design a process which is going to deliver the impact, then I am going to transform that process into a digital format. That's where I require technology, so that that impact can be upscaled, can be multiplied. Anything in process can be multiplied. So that's the crux of business transformation. This is how you can probably achieve business transformation, right? And with that, we go to the next section. That, okay, So I understood so far. What I understood is, okay, I know that transformation has to start from my mind first. I need to first identify whom I want to impact and how I want to impact. Then I create processes and stuff like that. I create the process that's going to impact them, and then I go digital. But then how is it that I'm going to achieve this? ठीक है, theoretically I understand that, but practically कैसे achieve करना? So this section is going to talk about how is it that you can practically achieve this. Okay, and to take this further, okay, there is a project that I'm going to take, and the project is about planning a wedding. So this example might be little out of track, but I'm sure the learnings of this example are very much aligned to your own business. So एक example लेते हैं that there is a wedding in the house and all of us have been a part of it at some point or the other time. हमारे सबके घर में कहाँ ना किधर तो शादी हुई है. So whenever a wedding happens, what happens? We first start identifying the scope. कि शादी का वेन्यू क्या है, डेकोरेशन कौन करेगा, कहाँ से आएगा, फोटोग्राफी, वीडियोग्राफी, कार्ड प्रिंटिंग, ये सब कौन करेगा. दैट मीन्स हम ये एक्टिविटीज को पहले सीक्वेंस करते हैं कि पहले वेन्यू डिसाइड होगा, उसके बाद ही मेरा कार्ड प्रिंटिंग होगा, उसके बाद ही डेकोरेशन होगा. सो वी स्टार्ट अंडरस्टैंडिंग द स्कोप and we start sequencing the activities in the scope. Second thing that we do is we start estimating the time. Because कभी भी शादी होती है तो हम एटलीस्ट 6 महीने पहले प्लानिंग चालू कर देते हैं, एटलीस्ट, राइट. डेस्टिनेशन वेडिंग्स होती है तो एटलीस्ट 1 साल लगता है. सो we exactly start estimating the time for each of these activities. कि डेकोरेशन को कितना दिन लगेगा, ड्रेसेस को कितना दिन लगेगा, because dresses are going to take a lot of time, 2 months, 3 months, and so forth, right? Card printing. And so we start defining the activities to the scope. We start defining the time of the activity, right? And then we go to the cost, that what is the cost of each activity? What is the cost of renting the venue, or what is the cost of decoration, or what is the cost of clothes, and so on and so forth. And then we start thinking about risks, that what if there is a lighting problem? If I'm doing it on the ground and there is a lighting problem, so that is a risk. And when I identify a risk, I understand there is an additional to the scope because I'm adding a generator van to the scope. Yeah. So that means that we are planning this entire thing very beautifully. Our entire, the entire plan of the wedding, we've planned it in our mind or on paper, and we planned it very beautifully. It's, everything is right in front of us. और हम प्लान ये भी करते हैं कि जब शादी का दिन आएगा तभी who is going to take care of what. So I know कि मेरे एक अंकल जी है वो जाके गेस्ट को संभालेंगे, मेरे एक अंकल जी है वो जाके he will go in the kitchen department and he will do all the tasting. मेरे एक अंकल जी है जो जाके देखेंगे कि जो डेकोरेशन जो हमको प्रॉमिस किया गया था वैसा ही है कि नहीं. So I am actually defining that who is going to do what on the day it's getting executed, right? So I don't only have the plan, but I also know कि जब शादी होगी, my one uncle will go and check the decoration and he will check with the scope. Is this decoration as per the scope or not? One uncle will go and check the menu. Is this menu as per what I had planned or not? Correct? So pura project planning hum karte hain. Now the question is, if we plan so in such a detail, and if we also execute in such a detail, because when we are actually checking कि menu ठीक है कि नहीं, decoration ठीक है कि नहीं, सब कुछ all that we जो scope में plan किया था वो actual है कि नहीं, that is called monitoring and controlling of the scope. तो हम जब planning इतनी detail में करते हैं, हम monitoring and control इतनी detail में करते हैं, are we so detailed when it comes to having a plan for business transformation? Do we actually plan? Do we have a plan if we want to transform the way we work? If we want to transform the people that we work with, right? And for that, I have a practical business example which is coming up right next. Let's assume for a minute that one fine day I was sitting in my office and I decide that I really want to change the way my company interacts with customers. और उस चीज के लिए मुझे एक CRM खरीदना है. ओके, अभी अगर मुझे CRM खरीदना है तो मेरा प्रोसेस में क्या हम as is, what is the current process that most of us would follow? I will go to Google, I will type CRM, I will get listing of 10 companies, Out of 10, I'll shortlist 5. Out of 5, I'll call 3. Out of 3, I'll select 1 based on the presentation of the product, and then I'll execute. Right? Now, what happens? We did not have any planning. We never planned. Right? We just went on a search and we selected the product. Then when we start implementing, at least 3 months down the line, 3 महीने के बाद के 6 महीने के बाद हमें थोड़ा ऐसा पता लगेगा यार कि प्रोडक्ट ठीक है, but ये प्रोडक्ट is not meeting my business requirements, right? And then you will go to the software implementer and you will tell him यार मेरा business requirements meet नहीं हो रहा है. तो बोलेगा सर जो मेरा प्रोडक्ट कर रहा है, I'm giving you the product and the product can do everything that I've told you. So now you are in a catch-22 situation because the product is delivering what it is supposed to, but at the same time, your business requirements are not getting met. And then you take a decision that, look, I've spent my time, मेरे already 6-7 महीने चले गए हैं, I've spent the money, अब ये product से जो होता है वो उससे हम आगे बढ़ते हैं. Let's do it. Let's use it. Now, if I would have done proper planning, what should be the to-be process? Okay, I decided that I want to transform, but I never had a plan to transform. All right. So what ideally should have been done was that I should have first identified my transformation objective. What is it that I want to achieve with the CRM with respect to my business purpose and whom it's going to impact? Then you create an entire transformation plan, pain points, processes, people, as of all that we saw. And then once that plan is ready, in the execution stage is when we go and speak to the developer, or is when we go and speak to the suppliers, or probably to the owners of the companies who have those products, right? So now to understand this behavior, there's a common, now I know that this was not happening, and then we had to find the root cause of this, that why was this not happening? Because we are very good at planning, but when it comes to business transformation, okay, the planning is not happening the way it should happen. And that's what got us here, the gap. So what we identified the gap was that organizations have money, organizations have resources, fantastically well. They are fantastically equipped. There is no problem. But what is probably lacking, or probably what's not in full, is the direction when it comes to business transformation, right? So what organizations need is a direction, that someone needs to come and tell me that what is the step-by-step approach of how am I going to transform? Who is going to help my business to transform? Who is going to understand the same need? Who's going to understand the same purpose? Because software or any other partners, they are not going to come and understand the purpose. They're just going to deliver the services. But I need a team, I need a set of people who are going to come and understand, okay, what my purpose is, or what is it that I want to impact. And based on that, they're going to help me craft an entire plan. And that's exactly what we're going to do next. So this is the plan. My first step is we need to identify pain points. So we need to identify whom are we going to impact, whose lives are we going to impact. If it's customers, we need to identify the pain points of the customers, right? Then the second thing what we do is we create a business process. Okay, a process that it is created and designed in such a way that it addresses and solves those pain points. And then we need to have a prototype, a model, okay, and model which gives the entire organization, which gives the business owner an holistic view that who's going to interact and how is my business going to look, how is my business going to operate once I execute this plan. And that model is exactly going to tell you that who's going to deliver what to whom, right? How is my operational team going to deliver the service in a way that is going to solve the pain point? That is what the model is going to tell you, right? So you're in full control. You have the full visibility to know that what's going to happen once I transform this model into reality. And only once that model is transformed into reality is when your exact transformation is going to happen. So till the time you make the model, okay, that's your project planning, okay. And then when you take that model to to another tool provider, or probably then to a software vendor, or to then any vendor, that's where you go and tell him that, look, this is my business transformation plan. Is your software or is your tool capable, or will your tool help me to achieve this? Right? And when that fitment happens, at that time you need to monitor and control the entire project, just as exactly what we did in the wedding scenario. एक अंकल जी है जो जाके देख रहे हैं कि खाना ठीक से बनाए कि नहीं. यहाँ पे भी हमको आके देखना पड़ेगा कि जो मेरा प्लान है ये ठीक से इम्प्लीमेंट हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है. Right? And that is going to be your entire journey of business transformation. Now, what organization structure do we need to have in order to achieve this? So currently, I believe that the organization structure that we have is a functional organization, where we have functional departments of operations, sales, marketing, finance, HR, IT. And then in all those departments, we have the positions. HOD hai, HOD ke niche manager hai, manager ke niche executive. This is the current organization structure. But we need a team. We need a set of people. We need people who can help us in a horizontal direction, such that we need a business transformation function or a business transformation team, which is going to cut through all these departments, right? And then stitch together in a way that all these departments are customer centric, and create a process in such a way that the process is delivering value, changing the life of the customer, right? And that's where you'll be able to transform his experience. So what we exactly need is a matrix organization structure. Now I know you must be thinking that, oh my God, it's so much of work to do. Hum ye kaise karo? So it's not about that. It's not that ye aapko karna hai. There is professional help which is always available. We have done this for many people, right? So it's not about you doing it. It's about you probably having the willingness to do it. It's about you having that thought in your mind to do it. Then probably you'll have people to handhold you and to get through to the entire process, right? So with that, I come back to the first slide that we have seen. So what happens when you exactly transform your business? What happens now to the sales, operating expenses, and the net income? Let's have a look. So now we know that we've identified the pain points with respect to our customers. We know that we've been customer centric, and we know that now our products and services are delivering value with respect to being customer centric. So sales is something which is going to be on autopilot. Why? Because we have a strong purpose, and our purpose is to impact lives. And I know that I've also understood the pain points, and I've also understood how my organization works, right? And that's where I'm also at. So yes, coming back. So this is how the entire this is how you're going to entire transform your business, right? From the way you're working with respect to sales and the way you're working with respect to operations, right? And that's where you're going to build a sustainable business, and that's where it's going to be a competitive advantage. Because in today's world, and if you look at today's markets, competition is rising very high. You have more and more suppliers coming in. There is more and more bargaining power available for the customers. So the question is not about being available at the right time. The question is not about having the right product. The question is about the fitment. The question is about whose problem are you solving and how are you solving it? And at the same time, what kind of value is being delivered from that point of view, right? So let's have a quick rewind of what we've seen so far. Yes, we've spoken about transformation, the purpose, mindset, attitude, approach. This all is in the mind. The transformation has to first come in your mind. Only once it's in your mind is what you can go to the physical world. So that's where next we go is your business transformation. So you need to have a transformation plan in place, which talks about your pain points, but has a business process design. Then you have a model which depicts how your business transformation is going to be like once you execute it. And then you execute that entire plan such that your business is transformed in a very different way. And after that, the most important thing is, above all, it's your will to transform. So your willingness is to do something different, correct? So this is one quote from Henry Ford, which says that if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got, right? So now I hope, somehow this presentation, or somehow me, or somehow, all of us put together who've been responsible for putting this entire webinar together, we've inspired all of you to think in a different way, that how is it that we can transform our business. And I'm sure that you guys will be able to best possible use. And yes, once we do that, and that's why we chose this topic of business transformation, because this is the only sustainable advantage. Well, thank you so very much, guys. Yes, I'll be ready to take up your questions. And just in case, if I'm not able to answer these questions, you can connect us on this email ID, connect@39ifs.com, and we'll be more than happy to connect with you. All right, so I'm stopping the screen share, and I should go ahead and I can take the questions from what's available.
Yeah. So we have a question from Abhijit. His question is this transformation for an established organization or for a newly startup?
Okay, so business transformation, there is no such restriction that it has to be an established organization or a startup. That is a business format. What is important is that we need to have a strong business purpose and we can apply it. So even if it's a startup, it doesn't matter.
So if anyone has any questions, we can share the mic.
So I think I've got, I can see one question by Abhijit, which says, what are the components of business transformation? So I've already covered that in the presentation, right from how you plan and then how is it that you move forward. So I think that should be answering the question.
Okay. So we have another question from Mr. Praveen from Metro Associates. We are a real estate developer in Mumbai. How does technology impact us positively? Can you throw light especially on real estate?
Oh, superb. It's fantastic. So great, sir. Actually, we have actually focused on real estate, and we've worked on a lot of solutions with real estate as well. And honestly speaking, real estate, is a service aggregator. And the most important thing that we need to do in real estate is project management, right? And when we talk about transformation with respect to real estate, it's just not about going there and building what you want to build, but I think it's more about understanding the customer. It's more about understanding the entire journey of a customer and how is it that you can transform. But yes, we have we have catered to a couple of real estate industries, but probably this will get more industry specific. We would request you if you can just email us. We'll get back to you.
So we have another question from Mr. Kurush. What is your opinion would be the major factor in business transformation? What, according to you, is going to be the major factor in business transformation?
I think the major factor is first your mindset. Okay, we really need to change our mindsets, the way we do business. Gone are those days when we think or when we feel that I have a product and I have a service, and I'll just hire a marketing agency or I'll just do digital marketing. मैं SEO कर दूंगा, SEM कर दूंगा, एक agency को पैसे दे दूंगा, and then they will sell it for me. Gone are those days. Till the time we do not empathize with all our stakeholders in the required way, till the time we don't empathize with our customers, it's going to be very, very, very difficult to sell. Because again, selling, as I said, selling is an outcome. Sales is an outcome. You do not need to put your effort in sales. You have to put your effort in the inputs, in creating in understanding customers, in creating your service or products in such a way that they are solving their problems. They are doing the job for which they are hired. Right? So the most important thing is the mindset. And after that, the entire planning bit that I've showcased, that how is it you need to identify the pain points and then create services and so on and so forth.
So the next question is from Mr. Sandeep. How much time do you think an organization normally takes in business transformation?
Okay, so the business transformation activity, the planning bit, it depends on the complexity and the nature of your organization or the nature of your business rather. But on an average, if I have to tell you, it roughly takes around 3 to 4 months for the planning that.
We do have some industry specific questions which have come up. We would be happy to take them questions later on rather than putting it on the platform right now.
Sure.
Yeah. If anybody would like to ask a question, can raise hand. else we are done with the set of questions that we already received. Industry specific questions is what we have not taken up right.
For any industry specific questions, please feel free to reach us on connect@39ifs.com, and one of our team members will definitely get back.
Mr. Vijay, you can ask your question.
My question is based on the industry only.
Yeah.
We are, sir, we are working on the agriculture equipments manufacturing. So currently we are seeing on the market of domestic only. So we want to go in the international market, but resources are available with us, but direction that we need is not available.
Yeah, I completely understand that, sir. That yes, resources are available, and that's exactly the role that we'll play. We'll be more than happy to connect with you, sir, offline, and to discuss your entire plan forward of how is it that we can handhold you to the entire process.
Thank you, sir.
So we have another question that has come from Mr. Urvish. Do you think a technology-driven company with less employee will make more money than a company with more employees?
Okay, so again, we are looking at the outcome. Again, we are talking about who's going to make more money. The question is, what is that technology company trying to achieve? And if it's trying to achieve with minimal resources, how is that possible? And that is possible through processes, right? So your processes play a key role in making you have a sustainable advantage, right? So it's not about whether it's a technological company or whether it's a company otherwise. It's about how are you designing the impact that you want to achieve.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just to add on, I also see a question on a normal chat section which says, how do you see India potential on new business attraction? Like, what will be the important factors for growth for India's story?
Precisely. So as the way I see, India is going to have an advantage because the entire emotional I would say sentiments with respect to China is getting lost, and probably it's going to get diverted to India. So India is going to have tremendous opportunities. Yes, absolutely. But then opportunities does not mean that that something is just lying there and someone there is just going to go and pick it up. It means that how well are we in a position to actually take up that opportunity to serve the purpose for what it's coming to us for. Yes, opportunities are always in abundance. Okay, they're always there. The question is that how well are we prepared and how well are we probably tuned or crafted, okay, to absorb those opportunities.
Also, just to add on to your point, Nilay, I see a lot of questions on exports as well. Considering Cogoport is a one-place platform for all the importers and exporters. Just want to address it to the attendees. In case you guys have any questions related to how to find buyers, in case you're an exporter or something on those sorts, you can always mail back to me. We also have another webinar next week on imports specifically, because I see that that people obviously they want direction, which I understand is a part of business transformation. But in the coming times, in the next, like say in next 1-2 months, if someone wants to literally start an export company and talk about it, you guys can always mail back to us and we can give you direction.
Yeah, that's that, I guess.
Yeah, I think we're good to go.
All right.
For everyone, we have your database, so we will be sending out the recorded session to you guys. You can access the presentation through that as well. It will take us 2 to 3 days to get back to you with the edit recorded session. Once again, thank you so much, Nilay and Girishma, for joining us.
Yes, once again, thank you very much, Manmeet, and thank you to all the viewers and attendees who've been a part of this. And thank you very much for for having us. Thank you so very much.